So let's get super practical into this. I now understand I need to create these different documents. I understand I can chat to Claude and he might do something for me, but could you like break it down super simple? What's the process of creating these documents in as simple way as possible?
So the about me, the voice, and the my company will be more straightforward because you're not using it. Like your reference is what's in your head, right? So if you start...
And just to jump in there, Grant, so when it's in your head, then you would recommend whisper flow versus writing because then it's more, you use more words, it's more colorful, it's more in depth, right?
Yep, exactly. So in those situations, you can start a new chat or a new task in Cowork and just explain what you're trying to achieve. Like, I want to create a markdown file that you, Claude, will reference when I start a new chat or task. And this is specifically this is really much more useful for Cowork than it is for chat because the chat is limited in the knowledge base of a project or it's limited to your global instructions. Cowork can actually reference files like Claude Code. So this is, when we talk about file creation, we're really thinking, okay, well, how can we get leverage on Cowork and Claude Code? So stating your goal, I want an about me file that you can reference when you're talking to me, interview me, right? I also really like to use a tool that Cowork will often recommend, but I ask for it specifically, which is called Ask User Questions. And so what this does, it just pops up a little multiple choice select. And I like that for those kind of quick, okay, well, how long do you want the file to be? Or in what circumstances will I be referencing this file? Those types of things, like it'll suggest answers that you can just select as multiple or single select and move on. But then you want to start getting into the whisper flow and really speaking what's on your mind. And you can go for 2 minutes of just yapping. And that's great context for Claude to have. So don't be shy, really let it all out. And then it'll make sense of that unstructured text. And so you can do that for your voice, your about me, and your my company. Those three are going to be really good for the self-interview. I've done, I think my about me, I spent literally like an hour back and forth until it felt good. I had a really good starting prompt to work from that was probably too comprehensive. But let it take 10 minutes, let it take 15 minutes or 30. Like it's time well spent because that's really strong leverage for when you're working with Claude.
So just two follow-ups from that. So one thing is you created the file, you start using it, but as I understand it, you can also kind of ask it to update itself and it should be like a living document. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. I think all of your files, all of your markdown files can be considered living documents because at the end of the day, this is something I learned from automation. Like edge cases exist in life, just generally, right? So if I'm making an SOW and we have these core offers and then someone comes to me and says, all right, well, I'll pay you triple your rates if you do it completely differently. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to start from this template that I have, but let's work in this new option, right? I might want to use this new service again. So you can then say, go to my SOW skill and update it with this new path potentially. And so even when you think about your about company, like another great example, we're growing, we're hiring, new person joins the team. Part of the about company tells you what the team roster is and what each person's role title is and what they're responsible for. So if you hire a new person, great idea to go and update that file simply by starting a new chat thread and saying, update my company file because I've just hired Bennett. Bennett runs media buying, senior media buyer. He's going to run these 5 accounts. Great. That's going to be super helpful for Claude to know that.
That's great. So